Hi guys, and welcome back to Chip's Green World, the winter special Christmas edition. But before we start that, let's go back a couple of days and explain what's going on here. I've taken the back door off, the back window out and the wall below the window out, ready for the new glass doors, as today's the day we're connecting the house to the courtyard. And I'm happy to announce they arrived early. And there's two teams, so they should be doubly fast. And that's a good thing, as we're forecast snow for this evening and it'd be rather chilly without the doors in. I think I did show you some pictures of how I wanted it to look in the past vlogs. I was toying with the idea of steel frame doors, but in the end went with the aluminium frame in the style of a steel door, and I'm extremely pleased with how they're looking, but I'll show you them later on. So let's leave the fitters to get on and we'll move on to this week's Christmas Courtyard vlog. And just as it was forecast, the snow came that evening, turning the courtyard into a beautiful winter wonderland. You can't get more Christmassy than this. If only it would stay around, but unfortunately this only lasts for a couple of days. I'll show you a quick glimpse of how it looks from the dining kitchen. You'll have to mind the mess, as the internal wall still needs finishing off, but what a difference this makes, connecting the dining kitchen to the courtyard. Just beautiful. Now I'll be able to cook my Christmas lunch while looking out at my Christmas display. Once the Christmas display has been done, there's a lot of cleaning up to do out here first. The ferns have all been hit by the frost. It was -5 the other night. The brunnera needs a good cutback and a general clean up and a bit of a weed at the same time, I think. We've even got a couple that have passed on to the other side, unfortunately, so they'll have to go. But overall, a good clean up, and then we'll be able to see what we've got to work with, what we can use and what we need to bring in. The pots under the steel obelisks are not looking too bad at all. Obviously the figs have lost their leaves, we'll clean them up. The grasses need a cut back. On a good note, we have the two hellebores that are doing well and starting to flower. I was a bit worried that these weren't getting enough light, but seems they're fine here. Probably helps that the twisted hazel has lost its leaves and the climbers. So I think that gives you the general idea. So let's get this courtyard whipped into shape. And there we go. It actually doesn't look as bad as I imagined it to be. Once all the dead's cleared away, it actually doesn't look too bad at all. Let's just take them yellow leaves off there. We don't need them in the display. No yellow, thank you very much. That means the azalea in the middle is probably going to have to go too. But let's get ourselves into the Christmas spirit by putting a little Christmas tune on and move some of these pots. Most of the pots that will be moved will stay in the courtyard, but they won't be prominent because this is their home after all. Lily of the valley, hostas, ferns, all will be put out of sight, out of mind. Unlike this little fern, it's just not looking too good, so he's taking a backstage. That's the little oak tree, put him by the door. That's the little lacer, he can go down there. So they're all virtually staying in the same conditions, just moved slightly out of vision, generally. Right, we're waiting for Gypsy Boy because I need some pots bringing in. And they're extremely heavy, so I will need a little hand with them, as I tend to leave the compost in 2/3 full. I do have a lot of messages about my pots. These pots I purchased from IKEA around 20 years ago. They're frost hardy and some of the best pots I've ever bought. The two white glazed pots at the back, the tall ones, they were also IKEA. They are around 18 years old. But they were the good old days, and IKEA's not what it used to be, I'm afraid, folks. So I doubt you'll find any good pots there today, sadly. Right, so that's the pots in place. Now we just need to bring in 2 little pine trees and then we can shut the gate and start this transformation. Let's just move them to the side until we find a spot for them. Then I think a good place to start is with the 2 pots that we've brought in. And what we're planting in here is 2 round holly balls with berries. Bonus. Yes, that looks good. Now for the other one. Maybe round to the right a little bit. That's better. And now to lighten them up with some variegated trailing ivy to the front. Sort of like that. Yes. So, I think I'm happy with them. So let's quickly plant them up. Right, that's them in. Let's move down to the 2 that we lost at the bottom, which I think we lost due to a heavy pour down and then -5 temperatures overnight. So here I'm going to replace them with 2 Perosa skimmijaponicas. They should look quite nice here. So let's quickly plant them up. Perosa skimmijaponica planted. Let's have a quick tidy up, put the pebbles back And I'm afraid it's time for Miss Azalea in white to come out. Looks beautiful in spring and summer, but it's not really its best time of year, so we're replacing it with this. Nandenia domestica obsessed. A very low variety of dwarf compact Nandenia. Foliage is slightly flatter and larger than many other compact versions. The winter colour intensely will vary from an intense red colour to a mixture of red and green. Summer foliage is a dark metallic blue-green, extremely dense. There we go. And looking beautiful. So let's add an extra fern that I had left over. It's a bit low. I think we're going to have to pack under there. So let's get one of the old stones from the wall I took out behind me. And we'll pack it with that. Raise it up a little bit. That's it. Pop him back in. Perfect. Much better. There's Skimmy, a white globe there from last year. Let's give her a quick tidy up. And now we have a gap there, see? And that's because we have a fern that's died back, and also a fern and a hosta in the same pot that's died back. So they can go to the side. And I think this is where one of the pines could come in handy. Let's give that a go. Perfect. It's like it was made especially for that space. Holly, ivy, a bit of pine, all in the same vicinity. How very festive. It's starting to look very Christmassy around here. So let's move them pots to the side. We won't be needing them till spring. And that is looking quite beautiful already. So let's move on to the courtyard table next. And here we have, surprise, it's another Skimmy japonica, a larger one this time. And this is Skimmy japonica rubella. And I'm just going to leave her in her own pot, as I've ran out of terracotta pots, so I'm going shopping in spring for new ones. And also, what's her name down there in the front row? She needs one too. So I'm just going to pair this up with one of the Jurassic ferns in its little tin pot. I think that complements it nicely. I think we need to slightly adjust rubella. She needs a slight tilt to the left. That's much better. No, not quite. A quick push in and rearrange. There we go, much better. So let's put that extra pine at the back to give it a bit of greenery back there. Then we can maybe move the evergreen fern further along if we move that pot with the hosta in along. And a quick tidy up really. We're only halfway there. A long way to go yet. And you might have guessed that we're probably not going to fit it all in today. But let's bring Gypsy Boy in and have a clean up. Right, now Gypsy Boy's had a good tidy up, we can reassess, have a look what else we need to do. Lots more to do, but it's looking quite beautiful and very festive. And I'm afraid that's it for this week, folks. I know, it's very sad, it's not even finished, I know, we're only halfway there, I know. I'll do better next week. I need to go and get compost. I've ran out. I'm losing the light. We have 2 days of rain coming up, so there's no way I can get it finished for this episode. I've got extra pots to pick up, which are my early Christmas present from Gypsy Boy. I've got to go and collect them from the antique store, which I'm planning to put in the display. On and on and on. I've got to fit lights, bells and whistles. Oh, not whistles, bows. And look, on the bright side, you get an extra Christmas video of me next week. So hope you've enjoyed, folks. Have a great week. I will see you all very soon. Well, next Sunday actually, when I'm finishing the Christmas Courtyard. So till then, all the best and bye for now.